Hello friends, good evening. This is Harshit Jain presenting the topic why climate change should matter to humans. Adding to this, my focus would be on understanding the natural feedback cycles undergone by our climate. First of all, we will try to learn what is a climate. Climate is the average weather in a given area over a longer period of time. Climate's description include information on average temperature of various seasons, sunshine, precipitation, etc. Now the question arises, what is climate change? Climate change is any systematic change in the long-term statistics of climate variables. These climate variables include temperature, precipitation, pressure, or wind sustained over several decades. The time period could be even longer than several decades. We will now try to answer the question why climate change should matter to us. As soon as one attempt to answer this question, few other relevant questions come in our mind immediately. Such questions are as follows. 1. When did the climate change start? Did it start a long time ago, or human activities have led to it quite recently? 2. What are the reasons behind the climate change? Are there any natural reasons? Which of our human activities are responsible for climate change? Are these human activities controllable? 3. What are the impacts of these climate changes? 4. What could be the future if these changes continue to occur? Question 1a. When did the climate change start? It has been believed that the climate change started a long time ago. Both natural as well as human activities could have led to such changes. However, it was only during the last few centuries, if not the 20th century alone, that the researchers and analysts started studying it. They tried to note down the effect it could have on our human life as well as on our future. Coming to the point, what are the reasons behind the climate change? It would be incorrect if we say that only human activities are responsible for climate change. There are some natural processes which could lead to climate change as well. These processes include volcanic eruptions, variations which occur due to orbital motion of Earth on its own axis. The list could be very long. However, it should be noted that the changes occurring from natural processes happen at quite slow rate. If we simply ask ourselves, can we control these activities? The answer would simply be no, we can't control these activities. Moreover, there are countless human activities which lead to climate change. These activities include cutting down the trees, that is deforestation, excessive industrial wastage, exhausting fossil fuels, excessive greenhouse gas emission, etc. As we could gauge that these human activities are major reason for any change in our climate. However, we should ask ourselves, could we minimize these activities? Answer would be yes, we surely can control these activities using advanced technology. We must start our effort from now to mitigate the climate change. The most important question that arises from this discussion is, what are the impacts of this climate change? Before going further, let me make it very clear that impacts have been huge. They cannot be ignored. Some of these impacts are as follows. 1. Water level in oceans is rising. According to NOAA, that is National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's data, sea level has risen approximately between 21 to 24 centimeter since the year 1980. NOAA's climate.gov website confirms the fact that global sea level has increased by 87.3 61 millimeter from the year 1993 to the year 2019. 2. Percentage of CO2 is increasing in the atmosphere. NOAA's data shows that there has been a whopping 11% increase in CO2's concentration in atmosphere. It has risen from 370 parts per million in the year 2000 to 412 parts per million in the year 2019. 3. Glaciers have already started to melt. NOAA's data reveal that from the year 1980 to the year 2018, on an average 24 meter, that is 79 foot of thick slice have melted from top of each glacier. 4. Groundwater level is depleting rapidly. As per the data from Groundwater Years book, Punjab would be battling with severe groundwater depletion crisis by the year 2037. 5. Number of forests are declining. World Bank's data reveal that forests occupied 31.625% of Earth's surface in 1990. It has come down to 30.716% by the year 2016. Take a pause and think, would we be able to survive if these impacts keep on increasing? What could be the future? 1. Sea levels may become high, leading to more floods. Oceans may become more acidic. 2. There may be frequent changes in precipitation. 3. If we talk about Punjab in particular, groundwater level may not be able to complete our daily needs. The rate at which we are depleting it, mainly for agriculture purpose, it is likely that agriculture or any other daily needs are not met by groundwater in future. We have learnt about the impacts and the future of the climate change. One could simply ask, is there still a hope to reduce the carbon footprint from Earth? Yes, definitely there is a hope to reduce the carbon footprint and also mitigate the climate change. We will learn about some strategies which could be used to mitigate the climate change. First strategy that we could use is to refuse. We should avoid single-use plastic products and opt for reusable products. Second strategy could be to reduce. By reducing the amount of the waste that we are producing each day, carbon footprint can actually be reduced. Third strategy that could be implemented is to reuse. We should reuse the items before replacing them with new ones. Fourth strategy could be to recycle. We should prefer recycled products over new products. Fifth one could be to prefer public transport over private transport. It will help in decreasing the amount of the CO2 released in atmosphere by the private vehicles. One other strategy that we could use is to plant more and more trees, that is afforestation. Planting more and more trees could help us in reducing the excess CO2 present in our atmosphere. Now we will learn about the feedback loops of the climate. Feedback loops basically mean cause and effect loop. That is, any change in atmosphere would affect the climate itself. Either it could increase the impact created by the change that we are simulating, or it could reduce the impact of the change. Moving to positive feedback cycle. Due to any natural or human activity, a change is simulated in the environment. Then the positive feedback cycle will intend to increase the already caused adverse effect of the change. In nutshell, the positive feedback loop will enhance the adverse effect of the change. It will push the system away from the balance. Positive feedback loop will produce instability. We will now see one example of positive feedback cycle to understand the concept clearly. In the Arctic Ocean, carbon dioxide as well as methane gas could be found on permafrost and under sediment of seafloor. Permafrost is any ground that completely remains frozen. But thanks to the change in climate and increase in temperature, thawing of permafrost is taking place. Thawing basically means permafrost becomes soft as a result of warming. Due to thawing, CO2 and CH4 are released to the atmosphere. Thus, it adds to the already existing greenhouse gases. These released gases would result in more and more warming. Warming in turn would again lead to permafrost loss, thereby further releasing greenhouse gases. This process would continue to go on and increase greenhouse gas emission to the atmosphere. Data reveals that the frozen Arctic soil holds around 1460 to 1600 billions of trapped carbon. It means that it holds around twice of the amount of the greenhouse gases which are currently present in our atmosphere. We will now talk about negative feedback loop. Due to any natural or human activity, a change is simulated in an environment. Then the negative feedback cycle will intend to decrease the already caused adverse effect of the change. In a nutshell, the negative feedback loop will mitigate or diminish the adverse effect. It will push the system towards the balance. Hence, negative feedback loop helps in maintaining the balance and produce stability. We will talk about negative feedback cycle in detail. The flowchart of an example of negative feedback cycle is as follows. 1. Due to various factors, there has been a slight increase in atmospheric temperature. 2. Due to increased temperature, climate gets a bit warmer. 3. Warmer climates leads to increase in evaporation rate. As more and more vapors get evaporated, it leads to increase in cloud cover. 4. Increased cloud cover lead to increase in number of solar radiations getting reflected from the cloud cover. Thus, the number of radiations which enter the Earth's atmosphere decrease. 5. As the incoming radiations have decreased, it causes a cooling effect. As you can see that we started from slight increase in temperature and end up with cooling effect. Thus, the negative feedback cycle helps in reducing the impact of the change. Following conclusions could be drawn from the video. 1. Climate change is happening, which could certainly be mitigated. 2. We need to start from now in order to control the human activities which are affecting our environment adversely. 3. Climate feedback loops include positive as well as negative feedback loops. Positive loop increase the adverse effect, whereas negative feedback loop decrease the adverse effect of climate change. 4. Techniques should be adopted which could help us in reducing the harmful changes occurring in the climate. Thank you for watching this video.